What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Welcome to another live stream. We'll keep these going where you keep enjoying them. And there's, as always, loads to get into in the world of Newcastle United and transfers. Eddie Howe has actually spoke out about the lack of transfer activity. Centre-backs have been identified by Keith at Sky. But first, we're going to get into strikers. Because as we know, if you haven't seen the video earlier and you've been living under a rock or you've been asleep all day and you just woke up, the move for Ekitike is off. Newcastle have now went on to their targets. Liverpool obviously hijacked the move, or was it 4D chess Newcastle all along, letting them get him and us keeping Isaac? There's a video earlier for that one, so tell you what, we're not going to touch on it. I can't be bothered again, unless people are sending good questions, or I'm sure we'll have Liverpool fans in the chat trying to wind them up, because all they've been doing is firing back on the comments and on YouTube videos and on our social posts all day, and we're actually going to look at what's been said on socials today as well, because we put a post out asking Wissa or Sesko or who else in the comments. There's been hundreds of replies, so we'll have a look at that, and I want to hear from you lot in the comments. Now there's no Ekitike. Which forward should Newcastle United be looking at? Is it a Johan Wissa? Is it a Benjamin Sesko? Or is it Calvert-Lewin? We'll see. Let us know in the chat. And please do subscribe and like this video if you haven't already. I know people are probably getting a bit fed up now. Even me, I was joking earlier. I was having a laugh. I was saying, it's part of the master plan and all that. But you know what? As the days went on, and as I'm seeing more rumours and Newcastle are exploring talks here and interested there, I'm starting to feel a bit fed up as well. And it sounds like Eddie Howe is. We'll get into what he said just an hour or so ago for Newcastle United's website very soon. But first of all, on the Wissa stuff thing, because I mentioned it in today's video, but I didn't get into it too deep before loads of other reports came out afterwards. After I was talking about my video, it's gathered pace, and according to the BBC, Newcastle are going to accelerate their interest in Brentford striker Johan Wissa in the next 24 hours, and that was 7 hours ago. So we'll wait and see if we do actually make a move on Wissa. This could now be a bit of a problem, a bit of a stumbling block, because word obviously got through to Old Trafford that Newcastle were going to move for Brentford's Wissa. So now, after negotiating for about 2 months, Manchester United have decided to whack a bid in of 70 million for Bryan Mbeumo, and Brentford have been kind of adamant all along that they're not going to allow both players to leave this summer. I mean, they can say that, but I tell you what, if Newcastle went ahead and offered 40 million for Wissa tomorrow, I think they'd accept it, and they're going to accept the 70 million for Bryan Mbeumo. So to be fair, if they got 100-odd million for both of those players, they can invest that quite well. Them two players won a new challenge. The managers left. The new ones came in, Keith Andrews. So I think there could be a deal to be done there. But Wissa is, nearly 29. So I see a lot of fans saying, he's 29. It's against them. It's against the mold. It's not the type of good player that Newcastle would sign. Some of that's true. Listen, we have signed all the players before, like Trippier, like Dan Burn. But we're obviously looking at youth. We're obviously looking at potential. That's been our model all along. Sign someone like Isaac, who they think is going to be really good, accelerates that, and then he does great for the club, and then you might have to sell him in the future. Or like a Minter, you know what I mean, where we've sold him for FFP profit. But with Wissa, I think it makes sense to get a good backup option in there, a good one that's had Premier League experience. He's scored 19 goals last year for Brentford, so that's class. And I think he'd be a brilliant signing. You know what I mean? I think he would really want the move. He'd want to play Champions League. He'd want to play at St. James Park. No disrespect to Brentford, but it is a huge step up. And it would be a new challenge for him. And I think he would do well in our team. His type of play suits us to a bone. He's going to work hard. He's fast. He's got a great eye for goal. And I think it'll be an addition to the team, to the squad depth, to rotate with Isaac, but also to play alongside him, like the plan was apparently for Hugo Ekitike. You could change formation with the Wissa in the team, and he is versatile. He has played across the front three. So I do like the idea of signing Wissa. It's obviously way cheaper than Hugo Ekitike. You're talking 80-odd million for this lad. And then Wissa would be about 30 million is the quote. Forest have had a bid turned down of about 22 million, which is less than the 25 million they tried to get him for last January. So if Newcastle went in and offered 30 million, it would be tempting to Brentford. They might hold out for around 35, but there's definitely a deal to be done there, even, I believe, if Mbeumo goes to Man United. Like, of course, they're not going to lose both of their players, but when the money's on the table, the players want to move. 1 year left on his contract. What are you going to do? Have a pissed off, upset Wissa on the bench for a year and then not get a penny for him? Or are you going to take 30, 40 million from this window? I think I know what to do. We've also got competition from the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, according to press on, and I keep on thinking his name is Antoine Wissa for some reason, for Johan Wissa. Maybe I've read somewhere that's the name of his, and maybe a middle name or something. But I'm just scrolling through here, other bits and pieces on the likes of Wissa and other targets that have been mentioned. As I said, Man United have now made a move for Mbeumo, which does complicate things a little bit. Another name that's been linked to Newcastle United that's in the title is Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig. That is definitely more of an Eddie Howe type player for Newcastle, one where he's younger, he can develop him, he can reach his potential that a lot of people seem to think he's got, and the potential that Leipzig seem to think he's got, because he costs an absolute fortune, apparently. You know, they're meant to be holding out for similar fees to Ekitike, where it's 70, 80 million quid, and that is just absolutely insane. I mean, these prices that people are getting quoted is what's putting people off. You know, Sesko was really heavily linked to Arsenal. They even said that, we'll make it him instead of Gyökeres because he's young guy, he's hungry, all the rest of it. But they're backed off because Leipzig are offering crazy fees, demanding crazy fees. You know, the 22-year-old who scored 13 goals and got 5 assists last year in the Bundesliga wasn't an amazing season. It's a very good season, and Leipzig didn't have a good season at all, to be fair. But before that, he's really impressed. He's impressed for Slovenia. He's impressed for Leipzig in the last couple of seasons, because we've been tracking him for quite a few years as well. It's a player that Eddie Howe really admires, according to the likes of TalkSport and more today, who have said that was one that we could watch now that Ekitike is gone. So that's the kind of like-for-like swap for Ekitike, if you like. You know, someone who's fits the same profile, plays in the same league as him, scores a good amount of goals like Ekitike, and he's got his best years ahead of him, you know, a bright future. And he's got a bag of potential that Eddie Howe could work with and develop on the training ground. So that would suit. But for me, I'm not sure if we're going to go out and spend that much money now, you know. I think the ship might have sailed. If it was ever a ship we were boarding, maybe it was a ship we just left to get wrecked. Because, like I said, it does seem like the plan all along was just to ploy Liverpool into buying Ekitike and then leaving the thing for Isak to stay. It looks like, 70 million. We knew that was going to get rejected. We know how much Frankfurt wanted for Ekitike, so we're never going to push the boat and go that far, for me. And we've made Liverpool force their hand. So will Newcastle now go for a Benjamin Sesko, someone who's going to cost 60, 70 million? Because where's the rest of the budget? You know, we've heard Sky Sports say that the budget's 120 million. I think there'll be about 150 million. And we've sold Longstaff now. Might sell one or two more. Could we be pushing towards 200 million? Bearing in mind, we've already spent 55 million of that. So how much more can we spend? How much further will we go? Listen, I was surprised in the first place that we're going for Ekitike. But again, where we're really going from. So would we be offering that sort of money for Benjamin Sesko? I don't think so. I reckon the Vissa's way more likely. I think it's one that Eddie Howe this window seems to be going for Premier League proven players with Elanga. You know, he could have went for a cheaper option like a Bakayoko, who's moved now from PSV today. You could have went for a cheaper option where we linked the James Trafford, Premier League proven just about, had a season there 2 years ago, but he's proven on the English level, the English stage. You could easily have went for a keeper abroad instead of the young lad from Burnley. So there's different ones where you feel, are we going down that route of Premier League experience? Are we going for players that are ready to step into the Champions League who he has faith in? It kind of looks that way. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Wissa. It'd be interesting to see what's happening with Mateta, who's obviously been in talks with Liverpool. So there's loads of names we could think about and talk about, and I want to hear your suggestions in the chat. There's one there saying Clive. Again, there's one that Eddie Howe loves because he's seen him terrorise Newcastle at St. James's Park when they slapped us up 4-1. That could be a shout. Where was another name that I've seen linked? People are saying, yeah, let's go for Wissa. Oh, there's breaking news. This is what we do the show for, people. There is breaking news right now. Let's see what it is. This is why I like to do the lives on the transfer shows. According to Damasio, which is Sky Sports in Italy, this is Gianluca Damasio, the Sky Sports international reporter. He is saying that Newcastle United and Juventus are now in talks over centre-back Nicolò Savona, who we were actually going to talk about in this video. This is one of the names that Keith Downey mentioned and we put on our social media pages a couple of hours ago. Contact has already been initiated and discussions are ongoing for Nicolò Savona. So he's the young player there at centre back. However, this one is a strange one. So you had Keith saying that, and then you've got Sky Sports Italy saying that as well. So Keith's obviously heard from his pal over there in Italy, maybe. But you know what it is? When you look at Savona, I may be butchering his pronunciation. I'd be lying if I've ever heard of him. Thanks to 2 super chats. I'll be getting into them in a minute. If you do want to guarantee your chat read out, just hide a little super chat in. Thanks for the support. On Nicolò Savona, they say he's a right back for Serie A club Juventus. So that one doesn't make much sense. They're saying they're centre back on Twitter and stuff, but when you look at his stats and you look at his playing position, it all points to him being a right back. And he's only made 28 appearances for Juventus because he is only 22, the 6'4" Italian defender. Now, he must be able to play at centre-back if, the reports are saying that. But again, when you look at this, you look at his playing style, it all points to right-back, really. On November last year, Spalletti included him in the Italian senior team for the first time against Belgium and France, but he didn't actually play. So he's been amongst the squad. Maybe he gets a glowing report from Sandro from what their training sessions have been like. But honestly, people, I would be lying out my teeth if I said I'd ever seen him play and know what he's like. That one doesn't really get as excited, to be honest. I'd never heard of him until a couple hours ago. I've never seen him play. But we'll trust the process. We've done well so far on signings for the majority, so I would trust the club there and what Eddie Howe might see in him. But again, he's played in the Champions League. He's had 7 appearances there. But I'm not massively fussed on him, to be fair. I don't know much about him. Let us know in the comments if you've watched Nicolò Savona, if you've seen him play before. If he's any good, will be a good start. Shout out to the loan Fragioli. I think we could get Sesko if we put a Hugo bid in. True. Yeah, if you put 70 million, I think that would be enough for Leipzig. That's what they would be looking for. So I think around that figure would be enough. So if you do have the money there, which, if we're serious about Ekitike, then the money is there. If we're serious about getting that strong forward to play alongside Isak, then he's the one you'd go for. When you look around world football, you look around the young up-and-coming strikers, then it would be a Sesko. Like I said earlier, that's a kind of like-for-like similar sort of shout to Hugo Ekitike. So you're right. If we did want to go for that forward to play alongside Isak and have really strong competition up top, then Sesko would be the man. Shout out to Tracy for the super chat on this one. Thank you. Samu Agoa is her shout there. I've got to be honest, I've never heard of him before. I'm going to Google him right now. Absolutely no idea who that is. To be honest with you, Spanish footballer, 21 years old. Oh, the Porto kid. Yes, that rings a bell. As soon as I've seen him, I know who you're on about. 2004, he was born. 19 goals last year for Porto, 3 assists. Yeah, Aston Villa have been heavily linked with him as well. I'd need to look into him more, but when I seen him in the Porto shirt, I knew who you were on about there. I think it was good. I know you said Samu, but I was just looking at the second name there, his surname, and I was like, But I've seen the Samu before on his shirt and that. So that would be a good idea. Obviously, very young player there, 21 years old. I'd really have to look into him more. Seen him now and again for Porto in the Europa League and that, but not too much depth. Not going to lie about that one. Right, rolling with a super chat for me, it's Benjamin Sesko. He's the only answer. Wissa too old. Vissa's too old for Owen. See, I don't mind getting Wissa in if it's a decent price and he does a job for. You see it too old. He's 28 at the minute. He'll be 29 soon, and you're going to get a good 3 years out of him. So remember, we're saying Callum Wilson when he was 28. Was that the best example? I mean, the goals were good. Injuries not so much, but Wissa so far has a pretty solid fitness record. It's always a risk. Same with Wilson. He had a bit of a problem in the past there, didn't he? Always had a bit of a niggle. Callum Wilson, but Wissa, I'd be confident he could do a job definitely for 2 or 3 years, and then you just continue to improve. Maybe next year, then you go and splash out on a Sesko. Thanks for those super chats, people. I completely forgot where I was at because we were talking about strikers, but then we got that breaking news from Damasio over there in Italy that we have open talks with Juventus for Nicolò Savona. The contact's initiated and discussions are ongoing. People in the comments here just saying don't know anything about him, just like me. He's a right back and he's been injured for months, is what people say. And also, actually, when you look at when you look at him, what's his name? And they said Scalvini. We're looking at all the Italians. Scalvini, Savona. When you look at Savona, not only is he meant to be a right back, according to different articles, but he's also just signed a brand new contract. So does that just guarantee a big price? Is that why they've done it? Probably, because if he's just breaking through, he might have just been on a few grand a week. He might have just, been on a little deal, and then they've tried to tie him down, or at least make sure they get a big fee for him. So that could be the case with Juventus there. Or are we actually looking for a right back? Or can this lad do both? Because, the Athletics article the other day was saying that Kieran Trippier's future is uncertain, with him only having 1 year left. The 34-year-old might get a bit of money for him, and he might fancy one last hurrah somewhere else. So maybe that's a development story there. Maybe that one would make more sense, with Savona apparently being more of a right back than a centre back. 6'4" for right back, can't he big mind? So maybe it could be the new Dan Burn, the opposite side. Instead of a centre back and left back, he could be a centre back and a right back. But we're going to talk about the defenders that we've been linked to in the past couple of hours there, because Keith Downey did state that we had 3 targets identified for the right centre-back position, and that is what we were now going to focus on. We'll just do that now, actually, to be fair. Let's jump into it. So that 3-man shortlist, one of them is Nicolò Savona, who we've just discussed there, who, according to Sky Italy, if you just tune in now, are saying that we are in talks with. Also, Giorgio Scalvini is still heavily linked. Another Italian. We're really loving this Italian market. Maybe we are trying to find a fellow countryman for Sound of Tonali to keep them company at the Italians, whichever one he's going to these days. Sam Buchanan's Wetherspoon's, just going anywhere, isn't he, really? So you've got Scalvini there, who's been linked very, very highly in the last couple of weeks. The Atalanta defender, who, again, has had a bit of an injury problem, a bit like Savona by the sounds of it. But Atalanta are meant to be holding out for around 50 million euros, which is a bit high, as is every single person out there right now. If you're a footballer, you're worth loads. I mean, even if you're looking at bloody Harrogate Town these days, they must be demanding crazy money as well. I don't care where you're from or who everything is just through the roof. Inflation hasn't just hit Aldi, it's hit bloody transfer window and all. It's mental. And another name that came out from nowhere isn't an Italian, for a change. It is Valencia's Spanish defender, Cesar Tarrega. And he has also been discussed behind the scenes there. Tarrega. With a nice little ear there above it. So Cesar could be coming to Newcastle. A bit on him. I was looking at him earlier. And he gets us a bit more excited than Savona, because he comes with rare reviews. However, obviously the main centre-back that's really shined in this defence with Tarrega was the lad that's just went to Arsenal. Who's meant to be going to Arsenal. What's he called? Markinos or whatever he's called. So there's that many names and rumours flying about these days. My head's a mess. We're doing it with 4 videos a day. We're talking with 200 different players. But with Cesar, he's 23. He's the Spanish under 21 international who we did actually see in the Euros last month. 6'4" again. And he has made 35 appearances for Valencia, scoring 2 goals. And he was on loan at Valladolid last season, 16 appearances, 1 goal. So his playing style is tall, physical, imposing, strong, and forceful in aerial duels. And despite his height, he does have very good ball control and can deliver passes neatly. So there's your 3 centre-backs that have been linked. That's according to Keith there. He says that's our 3-man shortlist. No Mark Gahey on that list. And just a couple of Italians, all young, all very young players that kind of more fit the profile as we discussed earlier with Eddie Howe, the Newcastle United type signing post-takeover. And honestly, none of them get me that excited. I don't know if we're on a bit of a downer because all we've done is sign Elanga and there's only 6 weeks till the season starts. But I don't know. I'm just looking at... I mean, Giorgio Scalvini's the main one there that I think would be the best shout. But again, I'm a bit like Scalvini. Well, I do like Scalvini, but the injury record, the ACL, I mentioned other videos where Tino Livramento came here with an ACL injury and he got over it. So Scalvini probably could and should as well. I do really like the idea of bringing in an Italian for Tonali because it works a treat. You've seen how much Bruno settled quickly in the club, having Joe Linton there, a fellow Brazilian. You've seen how other players that we've got have done that. Obviously, now we've just brought in Elanga for Isak, a Swedish compatriot. And, we've got the bloody Brexit ball as well, all the English players. So there's enough there. We like doing that, and I don't mind it. I think it makes sense. But honestly, I would like Scalvini. The other two, I've never ever heard of before. Like I said, once you look at Cesar Torreja, I remember him from the under-21 Euros, but I can't say I watch much of him. You know, it's not what he's not played that many games either, so it's not one to get massively excited about. Oh dear. But Scalvini would be definitely the best option of those three. Shout out to the Ruffied Benician for a super chat, whatever that means, mate. Big up. Savona played right centre back for Juve in Club World Cup in the back three. Did he? Nice one. Thanks for that info. There we go then. How did he get on? Let us know. What's Lloyd Kelly doing these days? Was he part of that back three? The only game I watched that Club World Cup was the final, and even that was absolutely terrible. What a load of nonsense that tournament, we're going to call it that. Donald Trump's preseason friendly. That was absolute bollocks. But cheers for Shooter Chat, pal. Shout out Joseph, who just became, he is a member for 1 month. Main problem with Wissa is his club in Mbumo Saga. It is indeed. Obviously, like I said earlier, Brentford don't want to sell both of their star players this summer after already losing Norgard, the captain Arsenal, and losing the manager to Tottenham and Thomas Frank. But, as I mentioned, when he's got 1 year left on his deal, are you really going to turn down 30, 40 million and then let him be in a huff for a year? I think they'd accept it. And they were always going to accept Man United's offer when they eventually went back in for him. So I think that can still be done. But I get it. It's made it a bit more difficult, and it's probably definitely thrown a spanner in the works. Let us know what you are thinking about the three centre-backs that we have mentioned. Who would you go for? Would it be Nicolò Savona, who according to Sky at we're in talks with? Would it be Giorgio Scalvini, who we've inquired about for a good few weeks now? Or would it be Valencia's defender, the Spaniard, Cesar Torreja? Let me know in the chat. Right, we're going to get back to that in a minute. I think there's even more breaking news, unless it's just kind of the same thing. No, it's just people buzzing that Jamie Rubin's been with Newcastle today, so everyone's getting excited. Don't know why. It's not like he's in a good over here coming in and dropping his bloody Monzo off, dropping his bank details down. Can we get something over the line, please? I think it's the right time to talk about that, to be fair. What Eddie Howe has been saying on the transfer window so far. Today, he did a I was going to say damning, is it? I mean, you can look at this two ways, so let us know how you are looking at it in the comments, right? Eddie said, on transfers, there's been a lot of work for very little incoming action. There's been a lot of work in this summer so far with very little incomings, with very little action on the transfer window front. He mentioned he's obviously delighted to get Elanga through the door, but he said, that there hasn't been enough, basically, in one way or another. I would look at that at first, and a lot of people were looking at it like, well, he's clearly pissed off there. He's clearly frustrated. He's clearly annoyed. There was comments saying, I wouldn't be surprised if he walked. He's obviously doing his nutting and he's raging that no one's being really brought in, bar Elanga. All these failed bids and moves for your Delaps, your Pedros, your Mbumos, your Cunhas, your Ekitikis. Gehi still. That, he's getting wound up. And of course he will be. Now, he said from the off, and this is the thing that's really got people, I think, with this transfer window, is months and months ago, ever since this turn of the year, really, where we didn't sign anyone in January, but we made a couple of sales, Eddie Howe was like, yeah, well, we're going to move quick. In the summer, we're going to make signings quickly. We must move fast. We're going to take advantage of PSR and FFP. Didn't help that Aston Villa stole the women's team, so we couldn't make an approach for a Ramsey or Morgan Rogers. But there's still now really happened. Elanga obviously came in last Friday, officially announced then, but they're in Austria now. They've been there a few days. It's only less than 48 hours until we'll play our first friendly in front of a crowd at Celtic Park on Saturday. And there's only one new signing through the door. And again, everyone's a bit annoyed. It's the whole situation again with Ekitike falling through and everything seems to have fell through this summer. So he's obviously, he is frustrated at the lack of dealings. He is saying, on one hand, that they're trying hard, though. He says they're putting in the effort behind the scenes, but things just haven't came off. Or is he talking about, the difficulty of having to do everything as well, you think? Because Mitchell's obviously left this summer. He mentioned that. He said it's been a difficult time. It's been awkward. It's been hard work with Paul Mitchell leaving because it's such an important role, the sporting director. He hasn't been replaced. Darren Neal still hasn't been replaced. Eddie Howe's there. trying to get deals done with his nephew, Andy Howe, and Chief Scout, Steve Nixon. And there's just them three trying to do the deals. And then Eddie's trying to work on the training ground as well. It's mental that we are working like this, by the way. I think behind the scenes, the club will have to start sorting ourselves out and acting fast and acting better. Because there's no way after a Saudi Arabian takeover, you're left with a skeleton closet like this working on deals. 3 of them, and one of them was the fucking manager, working on deals. It's not the 90s, not Sir Alex Ferguson trying to sign Beckham and that, you know what I mean? I know he came from the academy, but he's trying to sign Van Nistelrooy. It's not the same anymore. You have people in positions, and I know it hasn't been ideal because it didn't work out for Mitchell, and he left, and then that's left the gaping gap. Amanda left, and Murdad left. That's left gaping holes because they were the ones that seemed to be doing things. But that was ages ago, and we knew it wasn't working with Mitchell, which again is a problem behind the scenes. It's again that down to who appointed him and thought he was a good idea when it never worked out. That should have been chopped and changed sharp. We knew he was leaving. We got the notification months ago that Mitchell was going to leave at the end of June. Why has no one came in? Why has nothing been set up? Why has Isaac not got a new contract? Why are we saying one player? Yeah, and I mean, it isn't good enough, man. It really isn't good enough. And I've continuously pushed the whole let's be patient motive and message about calm down, everyone. And I still am trying to remain calm. Might not sound it. I'm getting worked up a little bit because I'm starting to get annoyed. It is getting serious now. We are playing pre-season friendlies from Saturday. You can't be messing around when we've got a really tough start of the season. It's less than 6 weeks now. We'll play Aston Villa away. And then Liverpool and Ekitike at home. So Howe, things need to start changing. Things need to start picking up. And we need to sort it out. And Eddie Howe needs help. I know some people are actually saying, and there we go straight away. I've just seen John's message pop up there because you can see it on your screen as well. EH has a lot to answer for too, Matty. Well, maybe he does. Maybe he does because he's wanted to control the transfers a bit, hasn't he? Never got on with Mitchell, and maybe he should be. For me, Eddie Howe's did enough for me. Won that behind with. Got with Champions League again. That's his job. He should be delegating tasks more. That's what's Andy Howe's nephew doing then, or what's someone else doing, not getting employed to make decisions and negotiate and to be at these meetings and be on the phone because, there has been reports that we can only do one deal at a time. Everyone's saying, where the hell's James Trafford been trying to sign him for a year as well? So we can't do it, though, because we've had all this focus and representatives trying to talk to Frankfurt and Ekitike. Everything else been put in the back burner. Everything was like, oh, we're trying to do this, we're trying to sign him, but everything was on the langa for weeks. And then, now Trafford make it over the line. Literally, the Trafford deal's been like this close for absolutely ages. And we're just hearing out because no one's got time to go on in a meeting. No one's got time to go and see him. They're too busy trying to one task at a time. Honestly, man, it's an absolute joke. It really is. It isn't good enough for a club of this size. I mean, we would complain about this if it was Mike Ashley and Lee Charney. So we have to complain about it when we're run by PIF. There should be no excuses. There's no PSR and FFP limitations on getting backroom staff. We thought we were doing so well at that back in the day. We thought we were doing great when we had Amanda here, Darren here, Mehrdad here, Dan Ashrath. All these things have just went tits up. And all these appointments have kind of went wrong. So it's on us, man. What's going on? Why we haven't had a sporting director replaced Mitchell? How hard is it to just be like, right, we know Mitchell's leaving. They knew for months Mitchell was leaving. Right, he has 5 candidates. Let's get them all into St. James Park next Friday. Interview them all. Pick one. And if we had done that, maybe we'd made more signings. It's just berserk to me. It's absolutely mad. It's absolutely mad. Honestly, it's doing me in. Shout out Noxie for the super chat. Apparently, the condensation on that, the ice has melted because I'm ranting away. Sesko has a 67 million release clause. Well, it's a little bit cheaper than Ekitike. I mean, we're putting a 69 million pound bid for Hugo Ekitike, so maybe Sesko could be the one. And like we said, even there, you've seen today, everyone getting excited now because Jamie Rubin's put a post out buzzing that he's in Austria watching the lads train. Well, what's he doing? Can he not, instead of really being on holiday, they're doing a few kick-ups with Langa, having a race with him, get on the phone, get some signings in. Get on with it, you know what I mean? But anyway, that was Eddie Howe, and then that was my rant. That really developed there on transfers and what they are saying. So, just on our social media post, if you don't follow on the Magpie channel on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, give her a follow if you're on those type of pages. We'll put the post out Wissa or Sesko, we've had hundreds of comments, and the majority is picking Sesko, mainly because of his age, and also because he seems to be the more exciting up-and-coming player. I get that. He's also definitely the more expensive player. I'd be happy with either. Listen, Sesko would be class. Sesko would probably be more exciting in the sense of, the potential and the buzz around him, I suppose. But honestly, I'd be really happy with Wissa as well. Solid Premier League proven player. Knows where the back of the net is. Will be more inclined to rotate with Alexander Isak. He'd probably be buzzing to come to a bigger club. Like I say, no disrespect to Brentford, but obviously way bigger club. And he is prem proven. Sesko is still a bit of a risk. Sesko didn't exactly set the Bundesliga on fire last year, but I would still like him. He's definitely done better in the past. He's done good on the international stage, but I'd be really happy with Wissa. I really would. So it's probably going to be Calvert-Lewin. Bloody Jamie Vardy. But the thing is, if you go ahead and go for a Sesko, then that is, again, a huge part of your transfer budget. You know what I mean? That's a lot of our transfer budget, and we are obviously keen to bring in a centre back. We are keen to be bringing in a goalkeeper, as we talked about James Trafford, and we are keen to bring in maybe a midfielder now after Sean Longstaff's set to go to Leeds. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. Let us know again what you would do. Any other names that we should go for. That is true. If you just joined the stream there now from Classic JJ, who's a member, Newcastle United and Juventus are in talks over Nicolò Savona. Contract initiated discussions ongoing. From Damasio there, a reporter for Sky Sports in Italy. So that is true. Let us know what you think of that. I mentioned it 10, 20 minutes ago. Never seen him play. Someone said he was playing in the back three in the Club World Cup a couple of weeks back. It does say he's a right back online. It does say he's just signing a new deal. And it does say he's been injured a lot. So all those things sound really fun and interesting. But there we go. Shout out to Tracy for the super chat. Your hot stuff. Thank you very much. Yes, she does think so. Yes, she does think so indeed. Oh, it is. It is a hot one in here, the day, like, to be fair, though. Very hot indeed. Conor Gallagher says boost for dinner. Yeah, that would be a lot of money, though, wouldn't it? I'm just not sure if we would pay that 40 million for Gallagher, and would he get ahead of the players that we've got? Your Tonali, your Bruno, and Joe Linton, that. I'm not sure, but I would like him. I would definitely take Conor Gallagher. I think it'd be good squad depth. Sesko is a 6'5" unit, big, strong player. Doesn't look the quickest. Well, that's why he's different, obviously, from a Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike is, they call him the baby Isaac, don't they? And all that nonsense. And he is that type of player where, he's agile, he's the way he moves and everything. It's true. But Ekitike is gone now. We're keeping Isaac. I'm pleased about that. Anyway, that was the main objective. Keeping Alexander Isak. Keeping the main man. So, yeah. We'll go from there on that one. Ooh, well, Gonzalo Ramos, great shout. I would love Gonzalo Ramos. I fancied a bit of Ramos when we linked with him a few years ago. So I wouldn't mind giving him a shot. He's been good for PSG when he's been given an opportunity. He's been good for Portugal as well. I really like the look of him. But it'd be interesting to see what he would cost. And I think Gonzalo Ramos is actually a really clever shout. Actually, it's up there with like a Sesko type one for me. I think he would be cheaper, and he's a quality player. I would definitely go for Gonzalo Ramos, to be fair. Victor Osimhen, not really a Newcastle style player, but again, if the deal could be done, why not? I'd finally be interested to see Osimhen in the Premier League because he's been linked to every other Big Six club for ages now. So it'd be nice to actually see him and see how he gets on. Munoz from Fulham, nice, good shout. I would definitely have Munoz. Well, actually linked to him earlier in the window. Leeds have been trying to get him as well. So Rodrigo Munoz, Brazilian, with the Sama boys, Bruno and Joe. I wouldn't mind that either. Prem proven, bit of a handful. So I would tell you about that. Andy Carroll, he's not available. David, Andy Carroll, no. Dagenham and Redbridge, Andy Carroll. So we've missed out on him. There's another one. You add that to the list. You know what I mean? Ekitike, Carroll, João Pedro. There we go. that's it. Over 1,000 people watching live right now. So please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Because we're getting to your comments. We'll just read some of the best ones out. Douglas Luiz, perfect sense for midfield rotation. He does. I would love Douglas Luiz. I'd be all over a bit of Douglas Luiz. Me, like, apparently he's linked with a move this summer. Juve are happy to let him go. He misses England. So that would be a wise choice, getting in at Douglas Luiz. Or, as I've mentioned before, maybe even a Ruben Neves, someone like that from Saudi. I would look at. Maybe we should look at Saudi for everything now, to be fair. Get some favours done. If you're getting around PSR and FFP, you get some loan deals in the market. Yeah? Get Ivan Toney back out here. Get a Mitrovic. Get a John Duran. Get them all. Take advantage of it, man. They didn't close that loophole that everyone said we would use. We haven't used it yet. Vlahovic as well has been mentioned loads there. He would obviously be a cheaper alternative. However, he is on big wages. Is it 300 grand a week, something mad like that? So I'm not sure if we'll be able to get that one done, like, unless he obviously took a big old pay cut. I'm not sure. Right. We're going to finish off very soon. People, so get any questions in, get any good comments in. I'd love Wissa, but I can't see Brentford letting him and Mbeumo go. What has happened about the new stadium and the badge? Asks Chris. That's a good place to kind of slow things down at and wind down the show. Because at the same time, I need to slow down, because you know what? That was my true emotion there when thinking about the new stadium and a new badge, because I feel like I should work behind the scenes in Newcastle here for the transfer team, or the lack of the transfer team, all three of them. We can't even do anything like that at the minute, can we? We can't even think about it because we've got too much going on. We've got to sort out the transfers first. We've got to get players done before we start thinking about who we're going to get, when we're going to announce the stadium. Is it going to be a new stadium? What's the new badge going to look like? They wouldn't dare announce anything at the minute. They need to sweeten things up. We need to get some signs over the line before they start winding people up the wrong way about new stadiums for those traditionalists and new badges for everyone who doesn't really want to see the badge change. They're not going to announce that yet. No way. We're going to have to sweeten them up. We need a big signing. We need 3, 4 new players through the door before the season starts, and then they might announce it. We've been hearing the new stadium was going to be announced from the start of the year, or the plan on it, whether they're going to extend it, keep it, or move. Now, it's very likely. I've always said I think we'll move. I pretty much can say that we are going to get a new stadium in Louisa's Park. When it'll be announced, maybe August, maybe middle of August, maybe depends on if we'll get signs to the door. They might announce it at the start of the season if we start well, but they need to time it right, because they're never going to announce it when things aren't going well, because it'll just be doom and gloom and loads of negativity online. But if we're signing a few players and we've got a few wins in the belt and we're looking good in the Premier League table, then they might announce it. But for now, they're not going to do it. And on the new badge, same. You know what I mean? This is meant to be the last season of the current badge. This is meant to be the very last season of that badge. So they'll probably announce it next spring or something, really, because they've gotten out again announcing it earlier because they know a lot of people didn't want it. So the new badge, you know, they put that thing out saying, oh, what would you like? What would you pick? Which is going to be refined, not, you know, an evolution of a badge and all that. They'll already have the design sorted. So it could get announced in a few months. It could get announced probably next year. But it will certainly be on the kits next season, according to Newcastle United, because they said the change would come from 2026. So, aye. There you go on that one. Right. Any last couple of comments in that have came in lately? Because there's too many to scroll back the top. Unless it's a super chat. I can guarantee you're getting rid of. But we'll finish off in the last couple of minutes. People calling for Scalvini, no one else in Escahi. That's it. I mean, yeah, this lad that's been linked, I forgot his name already. What's he called? Savona? Something like that. The Juve centre back. Apparently we're in talks with, according to Sky, at least. That doesn't excite me at all. So, yeah. Thoughts on a Pender from Leipzig? Yeah, it'll be decent. I wouldn't mind a bit of a Pender. That wouldn't be bad at all. Last couple of comments, people. Current badge should stay. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Well, it is broke according to the club. They say that it's too hard to produce and put on merchandise and put on websites and all the rest of it, apparently. So we'll wait and see. Rashford to Newcastle, yes or no? No, thank you. Too much drama around that kid. The kid, Everyone still calls him a kid. He's definitely not a kid anymore. But on a loan, maybe if we're desperate, like Villa were in January. But again, loads and loads of money he's on, 350 grand a week. So you'd have to be a loan. It would have to be Man U paying half of it. He's better from the left wing now, isn't he? I'd rather have Barnes or Gordon, to be honest. What would be your dream signing for Newcastle? Asks Holly at the minute. What do we need most? Would it be a Sesko? Because it's a bit glamorous, it's big money, it's an exciting one. Or would it be practical? And a lot of people aren't going to like this, because a lot of people seem to not rate him that highly and weren't that bothered about him last summer. But I really like Gahey. I really like his leadership skills. I really like what he's done in the Prem, what he's done for England. I think he would fit us nicely. Wouldn't really be my dream signing, though. Probably went a bit realistic on that one. Dream signing? I don't even know at the minute. Honestly, I don't even know. As a dream, give us like, maybe it is like a Sesko, maybe it is like a top striker. But a dream one, I'll have to come back to you on that one. Like, I'll have to come back to you. A dream signing, if we're going to be a bit ambitious and out there, drop some dream scenarios in there. I know people might talk about Rodrigo or Endrick or someone like that. That have been kind of linked and kind of want to get away from Real Madrid. Someone saying Saka there, someone saying Ivan Toney. That one of that fly thinks who they would go for. But I don't know. Yep, R.I.P. Wyn Davies. Good shout there from Philip there, Newcastle ex-player who passed away today, unfortunately. So rest in peace, Wyn Davies. People saying they prefer Mateta. Should call our new stadium the Aldi Stadium, because that's where we're shopping at the minute. Says Michael. Boniface. Yeah, that's a good shout. I've always liked Boniface. Wanted him a couple of years ago. Lamine Yamal. That would be alright, wouldn't it? Get the number 10 shirt from Barca. Give him the number 9 shirt in Newcastle. Have a bit of that. Apparently Ten Hag doesn't want Boniface. How about that? Are they really? Guys are saying Chelsea are making a move for Rodgers. 80 million. Is that actually true? Freaking, I don't know what is going on if that's true. I mean, I don't know why I'm not surprised. What, Chelsea spend loads of money and just sign everyone? Didn't see that coming. Tammy Abraham missed out on him. Like, what did he go for? 60 million, 20 million or something? I think that was a bargain we could have had. Could have had a bit of Tammy Abraham. Get Ronaldo in. I'd genuinely take Cristiano Ronaldo. People might laugh. I would take him. Give us Ronaldo from Saudi, like, all day long. The shirt sales, the crack, he's still banging them in. Well, fuck it, why not? I would have him. Who did I see there? That was a good shout. Jared Bowen, yeah. I did mention him in a podcast, actually, to be fair. Bowen would be good. We've got a Langer now, though, so that's why I didn't mention a right winger. Ademola Lookman. Not bad. Be linked to Arsenal as well, hasn't he? Evan Nielsen at Bournemouth. Yeah, I'd take him, I'd take him. Endrick on loan. I know it's crazy, but I'll go for Nunez. That is quite crazy, to be fair. Definitely got faith in Eddie Howe turning that around. Xavi Simons and Sesko. Kvaratskhelia. That would be a dream one, to be fair. But again, we're already on the left, so maybe Doué from PSG. That would be an exciting one. That could be a bit of a dream one. Right then, I'm going to go off and dream anyways. I'm going to go off and dream for that one, to be fair. So that'll do for this live show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you subscribe and give this one a like if you haven't already. We have breaking news on this show about the talks that Newcastle are in with Juventus for their Italian centre-back. But right now, we're still looking for forwards. We're still looking for defenders. Still exploring, like bloody Chris Columbus. Still interested. Can we get another signing, please? Not miss out on this one. What a change from the start of the week. Oh, my dears. It's going to be a long old 6 weeks or so what's left. We're longer on that. The transfer window, is it? September when it closes? Aye, we've got a while. It's a month now, actually, till the season starts, isn't it? So it is probably about 6 months until the window shuts. where will we be then? Stay tuned to the channel to find out. Smash a like on this one, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one.